Om Shri Ganeshaya Namo Namah. Greetings to everyone world over, all our brothers and sisters across the globe, wherever you are. Green morning, green afternoon, and green evening. We extend a very warm welcome to yet another powerful morning, afternoon, and evening, whatever time zone and whatever place you are world over in. Let's go to Central Asia today. We are looking forward to a lot of energy, synergy, partnership, collaboration, jubilation, celebrations, whatever we want to talk about, India and Central Asia partnership. What could be the new norms in higher education, in skills, in entrepreneurship? Our focus is going to be, of course, technology, innovation, research, and how can we all work as Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, one family and one universe, one common agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got a galaxy of wonderful, the distinguished guests from Central Asia today. They all are going to share their vision with us. Let's set the ball rolling. NRIs for Indian education, skills, and technology with innovation. International Chamber for Service Industry extends a very warm welcome to all of you. We have got 32 million plus Indian diaspora world over, our brothers and sisters. Those are doing commendable work. And besides other, the valuable inputs to India, they're also there for the research, for technology, for education, for partnership, for innovation. And of course, the government of India looks forward to and always gaga with the FDI, foreign direct investments, which come to our country. Our chamber is proud that we are deeply associated with the government of India on various projects. In 2018, with the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, 12 champion sectors of the services sector, which we worked with the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. That time, the entire machinery which was dealing with services sector right over there, 12 champion sectors were identified, finally being given the clearance by the Niti Aayog, and finally from the Honorable Prime Minister with the 5,000 crore allocation to the Ministry of Commerce to partner with other respective ministries in Government of India. So we were the part of this particular vision and the whole roadmap. These are the 12 champion sectors. Each one of us world over, wherever you are, area of your interest, you can pick it up, you can work onto it, we can plan it out. From Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, Chamber moved to the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise. All the time, manufacturing sector was given impetus and a lot of incentives. We have drawn the complete blueprint, roadmap, and the strategy and the policy framework. Why not services sector? And in that, when we gave it to the Government of India, we are proud to share with all of you education, skills, and micro, small, medium enterprise. Honorable Prime Minister of India, in the thick of the pandemic, announced Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India. And over there, the Honorable Finance Minister was also kind enough to say, here onward, 13th of May 2020 onwards, there'll be no differences between services sector and manufacturing sector. Both will be taken at the par. New norms, new definition, everything being taken care of over there. Our chamber is proud of it that way back in 1994, we brought India's first finishing school as a part for the services sector, where basically we were focusing on personality, on communication, collaboration, creativity, innovation, the buzzwords, what we call nowadays soft skill. More than 52,000 youth and 32,000 teachers. Those are the partners, and at present they are vocational teachers, and they are length and breadth of India, and some of them abroad, particularly in the services sector. These are various segments, and we are proud to share that with the Government of India, earlier Ministry of HRD, when the higher education policy was being made, we were the part with the RUSA, Rashtriya Uchitar Shiksha Abhiyan. And way back in 2013, finishing school became the integral part of higher education. And if you go to the AICT website today, all the 14,000 institutions which are partnering and which are with AICT, on the home page of AICT, In the drop down of education vertical, you can see the segment of finishing school. During the pandemic, right from 25th of March 2020 onwards, we have done about 1,600 webinars. We are thankful to Mr. Eric Falt, the director of the UNESCO, along with his entire team, when we focused on segment number 4 of Sustainable Development Goals, how basically to bring equality in the education ecosystem. So teachers, youth, counselors, of course, doctors, nurses, paramedical people, they're the great warriors. But our teachers, our educators, our counselors, our trainers, our technocrats, and particularly those are in education ecosystem, you have also done commendable work during the pandemic, and we are proud of all of you, those are in education vertical. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in the education ecosystem, we always hear physics lab, chemistry lab, bio lab, computer lab, maths lab, microbiome lab, language lab, computer lab, and of course, all kinds of labs. Why can't we think of inspirational lab? Information to inspiration, curiosity, creativity, imagination, innovation, design thinking, critical thinking, adaptive learning, immersive learning, project-based learning, nature-based learning, technology adoption, all that is being done by the chamber at present across pan-India. And inspirational lab, all digital for mental wellness, physical wellness, professional wellness, social wellness, and economic wellness. Just on 27th September, World Tourism Day, our chamber has come out with the research and compilation, Rethinking Tourism Post-Pandemic, 15 beautiful chapters. They are available on our web portal. One can draw the ebook complimentary right from there. At the same time, we are also moving ahead. Way back in 2001, we had launched FEAST, Forum of Educators and the research scholars of the tourism. But now there is a separate Ministry of Skills Development and Entrepreneurship. So the FEAST has been recoined, Forum of Educators and Skill Providers for Tourism. For the information with the universe to share, 1,036 institutions in India as on date, whether university or college or any other institute, they are imparting travel and tourism courses. Ladies and gentlemen, world population is aging, and we all have understood during pandemic how important it is to collaborate, to do the hand-holding and to look after elderly citizens. India being Youngistan, young country, young population, that got to be skilled and moving abroad. So services exports, the Honorable Commerce and Industry Minister has set a target of 1 trillion when we talk about exclusively for the services sector. So when we talk about it, we are focusing on education vertical and skills vertical, how that is going to be. There are 4 modes of exports, services exports. We have taken all of them and we are focusing on education services. We wish to share with all of you, every year in month of January, on 13th and 14th, we organize North India Pravasi Divas. And on 9th of January, there's a Pravasi Bharati Divas by Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India. So this 13th, 14th January, which is going to be in 23, we are going to focus on education, skills, technology, youth, and tourism and other verticals. We are taking a couple of case studies. We extend a very warm welcome to all of you. It's all complimentary participation, no delegation fee, and you can be the part of it. We would love to have, we will have a hybrid model. So whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. These are not my words. It's a Napoleon Hill beautiful book which he wrote, Think and Grow Rich. So let's come together. Let's make education and skills relevant, all of us, because the whole world has realized post-pandemic, we all got to collaborate, not to compete. And from the globalization, where are we moving? We will see onto that. Under the dynamic and dedicated leadership of Professor Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi ji, this evening is being brought to you all the distinguished guests, those have come. These are with the efforts of Professor Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi ji. We extend him a very warm welcome from Tashkent in Uzbekistan. Dr. Shilpi Mohan ma'am, she's from the medical tourism and consultant cardiologist. She's at Kyrgyzstan. We are proud of her. During the entire pandemic, she had been a great support to all of us. We extend a very warm welcome to Professor Dr. Sanjay, Rector at the Sharda University in Uzbekistan. It's a proud privilege. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not reading the bios and the detailed profile because they are very distinguished people. This program is going live on the YouTube in your own time. You can go through, you can see it, what all is to be, taken care of. Get them associated, or you get in touch with them wherever it's possible, on LinkedIn, on social media. Professor Kana, Sukumaran ji, the Dean of the Management Development Institute of Singapore at Tashkent, MDIS, we extend a very warm welcome. So it's a pleasure, hearty welcome. We have got Mr. Sachdev Ramakrishna ji, CEO, Software Services Company in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. We extend him also a very warm welcome. Dr. Koustubh Sharma, Assistant Director, Conservation Policy and Partnership in Kyrgyzstan. We extend him a very warm welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today and sparing some time. You had been with us earlier also. It was very valuable. Dr. Seema Rawat, ma'am, Associate Professor, Amity University in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. My eyes goes back to 1993 when Dr. Chauhan had come to India and I was leaving Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. And he had offered me, why don't you join us? And I told him that, look, at my age and stage now, I'm looking forward to do some social work for the community. And ladies and gentlemen, it's a leaps and bounds of Dr. Chauhan. His both the sons have also grown. They are doing extremely well. I'm in touch with most of the people. Those are from Amity University in different verticals at different places. We are proud of them. This group is doing extremely well and they are moving ahead every day. Dr. Jyoti Mashram, Senior Lecturer, Team University, that's at Tashkent, Uzbekistan. We extend her also very warm welcome, and it's a pleasure to have her. Ladies and gentlemen, with these words, join me in extending a very warm welcome to the distinguished guests. Those are joining us all the way from Central Asia. Let's build a partnership with them. Let's develop the relations with them. Let's have a collaboration with them. Let's learn whatever we can share for the betterment of the humanity. Why there is a war? If a soldier talks like that, you can well imagine why so many arms and armaments and fight and jealousies and problems and civilians being killed and all that. Why not we should have peace, prosperity, growth, happiness, and all of us will live like one family. I think that is the way the world has to be built. And nothing can empower the world than education, skills, competencies, capabilities, and human relations. We want to build some synergy today. We want to have some human relation today. And we would like to have the best of the relation with everybody. All the participants, those are joining from world over, you can keep posting your views on the YouTube. Should you wish to ask anything from anybody specific or in journal, you're more than welcome. At the end, we would like to take some questions as well. And the forum gets opened over here. We would like to start with Professor Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi ji. And thereafter, I would request Sachdev Ramakrishna ji. And then, of course, we will take on all of us together. And Dr. Shilpi Mohan ma'am is going to save me so that everybody is happy and everybody is gaga and everybody enjoys the evening. No competition, it's a collaboration. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi ji, all the way from Uzbekistan. I'm remembering 1988. I just mugged up Russian. I didn't know how to speak Russian because the anchor was missing and the Honorable Tourism Minister was to come for one function in Russian Cultural Center at 24 Firozshah Road. So I do not know Dobre Eter, Dobre watcher or whatsoever was there. But I just told Dobre Den, Dobre Večer, Daragi Instituta, Padalam, Turisma, I Upravlenia, Bureau Putishetri. I just mugged up that and I just said, okay, come on, let's go on. I wrote in Hindi but spoke in Russian. So with these words, Professor Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi ji.
Thank you. It is always a pleasure to listen, and the way you कहते हैं कि समा बांध देना to make the environment so comfortable to share our views. As I said that we were planning to have this session long time back, but unfortunately it got delayed because of the Diwali and people traveling here and there last month. So nevertheless, and I think almost everybody here on the panel is directly associated with higher education and education as such. And I think the listeners will be more benefited when they listen to the people who are actually practitioners, not only the academician part, but also practicing it on the ground. I will take just 7-8 minutes because I want to focus on something different, which I could understand in the last 2 years here in Uzbekistan. Higher education foundation is always built on the pillars of basic schooling. And when we talk about basic schooling, there are 2 eras in Uzbekistan. One was the Soviet era and second era was the post-independence in 91. I came to know, and it was little surprising also, that even during Soviet times, education was free. Like today also, the government schools do not charge any school fees from the students. So there are 2 types of schools. One is Uzbek language and second is the Russian language schools. English schools are very expensive here. And of course, it is basically by the foreign investors. And normally the fees goes from say $300 minimum to $1,200 or $1,300 per month. So it ranges in this way. So normal Uzbek people cannot have their children go into a school which is in English. Now coming to the language part, when the Soviet era was there, everybody had the same standard of I would say education. But after 91, there was a very typical thing which happened in Uzbekistan, and it was the script changed of Uzbekistan. So suppose you are learning Hindi or English, and suddenly one day you find that the script has changed. So even if you find a board written on the roadside and it is in Uzbek, you cannot read it. And that was a little, I would say, a push back to the entire education system. So the script changed from, of course, when it became Uzbekistan, focus was on Uzbek language. So everything changed into Uzbek, but also with that, the script also changed. So that gave a real bad push to the education in the last 20-25 years. So that is one thing which has, I would say, never gave a very strong foundation to higher education. Second problem area which I found in higher education is of course, the English language is a big problem here, but also the salary part. A good salary of a school teacher is $400 maximum, $300, $200. So it's not a career option for anybody. So when it is not a career option for anybody, the quality of the people is not so good, because they go into business, they do some small shops like in India. And that is the fundamental problem here, that nobody chooses a career of a school teacher or a state government university as a career, because the state government also has a very low, I would say, the pay scale. Of course, now many private universities are there. I myself was taught in almost 10, 12 private institute in Tashkent, which are basically from other countries. And they have a standard that you have to score 6.5 or 5.5 or maybe minimum 5 in IELTS score in English. But when you start going and teaching them, they don't even understand what we are teaching. So out of 100 students, maybe 10 students or maybe 20% students are just absorbing what the teachers are saying. However, they look towards India as a very, very, with a lot of respect, because we have done wonderfuls. We have set up IITs and IIMs in India, and all the top CEOs of the world, top companies, are now almost run by the Indians, including now the Prime Minister of England. So they look India as a role model for education. But the problem here in higher education is that the foundation is very, very weak. So now the government has started saying that, okay, English should be taught as a third language in the schooling also. But impact will come maybe after 5 years or 6 years, when the higher education quality will automatically improve. They are very, very young, I would say, demographically. And secondly, they are very intelligent. If you speak them in Russian or Uzbek, the language which they know. And third, very interestingly, they are not job seekers. Everybody wants to start their own business. So that's a very good part, because when you want to do something on your own, then your mind works faster. So that is my understanding, that higher education, I think some of my colleagues here as speakers are directly involved with the higher education. But I think with higher education, the up to 12th standard, the focus should also be on how to make them up to a quality where the higher education does not become a problem for them. So these are some of my observations here. And I think the present government is also focusing on the schooling part. And India can be a very, very, I would say, great partner for schooling, as well as of course, we have one of two prominent universities from India, Amity and Sharda University already here. 2-3 are more coming in maybe in a year or so. So I look forward that more Indians university and more faculties from India in various sectors come and improve the standards here. So thank you. That is my, I would say, small input from my side.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Sanjeev Chaturvedi ji. You had always been a great support, right from Ahmedabad to Gurugram to Delhi to Uzbekistan. Whenever we got in touch with you, it's always a warmth, and thank you very much. You were also the part of our last Pravasi Divas. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's move to Sachdev Ramakrishna ji. Now, Sachdev Ramakrishna ji, more than 50% of the services exports from India, that is from the IT and ITES. We have got very distinguished educators, scholars, and eminent legends of the so-called education ecosystem in the higher hierarchy of the higher education. I wish to understand from you the new education policy 2020, which came in India. It was to be implemented in a particular manner, phase, everything given in the thick of the pandemic on 29th of July 2020 to us, but it had caught on the wheels, accelerated path, and it moved in such a way that we all have adopted the technology, whether willingly, unwillingly, partially happy, fully happy, whatever it is, but education has become transparent, right? So how do you foresee the technology role, and particularly when you're dealing with the software services in education and skills in future? Because India can do wonders now. There are no geographical boundaries. We can go anywhere, we can enter anywhere, we can meet, greet, treat anybody. So thereby, how do you foresee technology, artificial intelligence, blockchain, other softwares, edtech platforms, all that coming up in a big way as far as higher education and skills are concerned? Sachdev Ramakrishna ji.
Firstly, thank you, Major Dr. Gulshan Sharma, for this kind invitation to be a presenter among what I call a galaxy of educationists. And also a special thanks to Professor Sanjeev, because he was the one who kind of brought me into this discussion. So personal thanks to him. He also just happens to be my neighbor in Tashkent. So that's also quite a coincidence. So on that note, I think Professor Sanjeev has set up, I think, a perfect foundation. In fact, I think he's saved me half of my speech by laying the landscape of what education has delivered here. Clearly, Uzbekistan was part of the erstwhile Soviet system. And like it or not, like the British left us with English as perhaps a common language for all of us to speak, despite differences in our native languages in India. Russian still is quite a bedrock of both the culture and language here. It still remains the warp and weft of the fabric here. So, and then the fact is, economically, Uzbekistan still depends quite significantly on Russia as a trading partner, both for imports and exports of goods and services. So that being the backdrop, for people like us who come from a more an Anglo-Saxon system, being unfamiliar with clearly Russian and Uzbek, and Dr. Gulshan, I think your Russian's far better than mine, because I thought you spoke so fluently and natively. So there's much to imbibe from you on that. But I think that's almost a necessary ingredient to succeed here. Even if one can't speak fluently, even with the little Uzbek and Russian I speak, I tend to at least make some cultural connect, because people do feel that you're respecting their land and their culture by speaking in their language. So if India is able to, in education, overcome the language barriers by either learning Russian or Uzbek, or subscribing to it or becoming more familiar, we would have perhaps conquered half the problem. Language remains, to me, the significant problem. Professor Sanjeev rightly said, India is still very, very respected in this part of the world for medical education. A lot of Uzbeks travel to India for medical treatment, particularly tertiary care. A lot of Delhi hospitals are very popular here, and medical tourism is quite in vogue between the two countries. The other important cultural bridge is Bollywood. So Mithun Chakravarti, disco dancer, Raj Kapoor, still you go to a park and an old Russian gentleman will play on the accordion, Mera Naam Joker or something, a song from that era. So, but I don't think we have done much in the current era, right? Because the reference points trade-wise still have been more China. China has made, of course, significant inroads providing goods and services. They've also lent to what I call benchmark countries for technology, such as Germany or France or the UK. And that also plays out, and the US, that also plays out in education, where young Uzbeks are now learning English quite aggressively to go and study abroad, particularly in Western countries. So that's the other bridge or chasm we have to cross if India has to make greater inroads. But I think Professor Sanjeev was right. There's a huge demand for even English-speaking teachers here. And there is, I think, some program between the government of India and the government of Uzbekistan to, quote unquote, import more English-speaking teachers at reasonable compensation to accelerate their access to the Western world. So again, just speaking on the supply side, if Indian educators get more language familiar, and I think all my fellow educationists here have that advantage. They live here. They are able to kind of bridge the two worlds living here as opposed to doing it remotely. That's, I think, one half of the story. The other bit is that, again, because English is a premium language, because they all can educate in English, they would be seen as therefore respected, right? So I think that's on the supply side. On the demand side, of which we are a company that absorbs such talent, we got in our senior specialists from India to project manage, because that's a skill that's lacking in Uzbekistan, particularly in software project delivery. The ability to deliver a software project to time, budget, and quality. So we've imported project managers from India. All our senior specialists are from India, delivering enterprise grade software, because they come in from at least 15, 20 years of doing world-class stuff across. So even in a team of 10 specialists from India, we've got 200 man-years of experience, right? Which is a person years, which is significant. And that will take this country a long, long time to reach. So that's clearly a skill gap. On the demand side, however, we have an issue. The Uzbek IT buyer is still perhaps the Indian IT buyer of the early 90s. Much of the large state-owned companies still have good strategic thinkers, but on IT, they perhaps are still more conservative in their procurement practices. So therefore, our ability to convey value through high value IT is still a little bit out. They'd rather get discounted, cheaper solutions that deliver basic functionality as opposed to looking for, if you might, a Mercedes versus a Maruti, right? Where both are cars, but one is a more sophisticated driving experience, and the other, of course, is functional and essential and basic, right? So those are, I think, the struggles we have. But we, therefore, as an experiment, hired a lot of interns. 80% of my staff in the company we built here are Uzbek. They are very bright, very ambitious, work very hard. I think person to person, they work a lot harder than an average Indian student would at their age, simply because they find it more valuable to learn from us and quickly accelerate on their career path. The difficulty we have is they do not come from much business experience. So when we do enterprise grade software, enterprise software sits on the bedrock of understanding how companies work. What is the purpose of a company? Where it sources raw materials in goods or services, converts that to value-added products to the manufacturing process. So unless you understand the value chain of how to convert raw materials to finished goods, whether in automotive manufacturing or in aviation services or in chemicals manufacturing, you would be very lost if you started to code on something you do not know what the coding is about. What is it enabling, right? And that's quite a skill gap we see here, because unlike, I think, youngsters in India who are exposed through internships in this or that company, I find that quite missing, right? That's, I think, one. Two is, I think the skills tend to be still higher to our view in web development. They're very good at design, UI, UX, what you refer to as more creative type of front-end software application development, right? Which is what you see in mobile applications development. And that's very good for a mobile-first world. But again, enterprise software tends to be a little more conservative, still more desktop-oriented, where a warehouse manager is trying to move goods from the warehouse to dealers and distributors out in the marketplace, right? Which one still doesn't do yet on mobile phones. So for that heavy-duty software, almost like air traffic controller screens, which tend to be a little dull-looking and a little more heavy-duty, this world is not yet there. So that needs a lot of skilling. So they need skilling in project management, they need skilling in experiencing coding for enterprise grade software. So I think they are perhaps 5-7 years at least out as they begin their journey now, right? So that's, I think, where we see still a skills gap for the kind of customer software delivery we need to do. We can't just run with local Uzbeks. We have to import talent from wherever and blend them with local resources, get the local resources to shadow senior folks from India, and like a Gurukul system, absorb through internship through the alchemy of knowledge transfer, right? That's, I think, where we are. And I don't want to take more time because I'm, as I said earlier, in the galaxy of educationists. They do a lot more classroom teaching than I do. But clearly, what I see is there's a clear issue of the current generation, distracted by mobile phones, where Dr. Google always outlives a teacher's richness. And you have to always do something more anecdotal, storytelling, something more engaging from, as you said, the world of the right brains, films, culture, stories, to bring them back into the classroom, right? You've got to appear more unique as a teacher to give a different experience. That's, I think, one. The second thing is that their attention span is extremely limited. And what I find completely shocking, not just about here, I do not know what the current student crop is like in India, but they don't come into the classroom with at least no notebooks, right? They all come with mobile phones and tiny wallets or purses. And as a teacher, even doing adjunct faculty lectures, I have more copious notes getting up at 4 in the morning, preparing for a class, and which the students have very little regard for. So sometimes I wonder if all that effort is wasted, but maybe it's the relearning that we have to do as educators. So I would just pause here to say there is great opportunity here, but one has to be patient because like in India, what you're skilling people on has to be differently done. But do they need skilling? Definitely. Can they learn from India? Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sachdev, Ramakrishna ji. Thank you very much for your valuable inputs. Medical tourism, Bollywood, demand for English teachers, software, skill gaps. I've noted down like a good student because it's a reskilling for us as well, as a teachers, as an educators. And that's something is fantastic because we need the corporate and we need technology that has to come in a very big way to make everything very, very meaningful. Ladies and gentlemen, a country in 70s, a country in 80s, and country in 90s, and country in 2000, and country in 2022. If one country, one place, because I am talking to the entire globe at present from beautiful city called Chandigarh, which is a neat, clean, green, serene, and all across greenery, greenery, and greenery. When I talk about that one country, which we got to pick up a lot from is Singapore. I always look forward to, and I learn a lot. And we had Mr. Karan Singh Thakral, one of the richest non-resident Indian, as our president of the chamber for 2.5 years. And it's such a great learning over there. Right, the compulsory armed forces, education ecosystem, skill system, financial system, and of course the transportation network, the seaports and everything when we talk about. Let me just go to Dr. Kana, Sukumaran, the Dean Management MDIS, with a commitment and with a promise that he would bring something new from Singapore to Tashkent and Tashkent to India, the golden triangle which we should build up. Because January, we are bringing case study of Singapore in our annual convention, and lots of participants are coming. Lots of people are joining us from there. Ladies and gentlemen, during the pandemic, those are regular with us. You know, our chamber has worked only with one mission and one aim. We have brought 12,000 Indian educators from 131 countries in 1,600 webinars. And this is the another, the galaxy which has come today from Central Asia. So let's move brick and mortar, brick to brick, wall to wall, hand to hand, and all of us together. Let's go to Dr. Kana Sukumaran, and I would request him to share his vision. And from there, then we will go to our further delegates. Dr. Kana Sukumaran. Unmute your mic, please. Unmute your mic, sir. Unmute your mic. You got to unmute your mic. You got to unmute your mic. You have got the right You can unmute your mic. No, it is to be unmuted. Just a second. You have to unmute your mic, sir. Your mic is to be unmuted. Just a second. Okay, I'm making you co-host. Just unmute your mic, please. I made you co-host. Just unmute your mic. You have got as many rights as I have got now. You can just unmute. Right over there, go where it's written mute, unmute, just unmute. Could you be kind enough to unmute your mic, please? Asked to unmute. Okay. Meanwhile, let me go to Dr. Sanjay Paul, Rector, Sharda University, Uzbekistan, to share his vision. And by the time, we would request Professor Dr. Kana ji to unmute his mic, please. Dr. Sanjay Paul ji, the Rector, Sharda University, Uzbekistan, kindly share your vision, your views, because Sharda University is also doing commendable work in India and overseas. What's your vision? How can we basically, our agenda is very simple. India is producing 19 lakh teachers per year from 14,000 plus colleges of the B.Ed. We require in India approximately 3 lakh teachers. 16 lakh is surplus. What do we do? How do we do? What exactly can be done? How do we work out globally? Because world over, the population is aging. A lot of countries require multitasking people. That means these people should take care of elderly couple also, their food part also, their caretaker also. All the things can be taken care of. So we would like to have your vision, Dr. Sanjay Palji, what presently is being done and what can be done, the Rector of the Sharda University, Uzbekistan. Meanwhile, Dr. Kana, Sukumaran ji, I would request you to kindly unmute your mic. Dr. Sanjay Palji.
Thank you for inviting me for this webinar. I appreciate the invitation I received from International Chamber for Service Industry. In this context of the education and primarily entrepreneurship education, I would like to share a presentation. If I can I share a presentation?
Please go ahead.
Okay.
All yours.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
All the audience, those are watching from world over, kindly post, share your views. Don't feel shy. Come on.
Is it visible now?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So here in this, once again, thank the International Chamber for Service Industry for inviting me. And I represent the Sharda University, Uzbekistan. We are operating in this country, in this province of Andijan since 2019. And we have established our university under the decree of the Honorable President of the Republic of Uzbekistan. We are one of the first university which is established under 100% private university under presidential decree. Now coming to the backdrop, all of us know that India and Central Asia has a historical relationship. Whether we talk about the Silk Road, the trade between India, Central Asia, and other neighboring countries through Silk Road, or the Mr. Babur who came from Andijan and set up the Mughal Empire in India. So we have in terms of trade, in terms of investment, in terms of education, we have a very, very historical relationship. And in fact, the trade and investment has increased significantly. So every year, the trade and investment between India and Central Asia is increasing. And but I still believe that there is a lot of scope for improvement in terms of trade and investment. Now talking about the Indian investment in higher education sector in Central Asia, I know that at least 4 Indian universities operating or going to operate in Uzbekistan. 3 of them are already operational. One of them will be starting in this next semester in Bukhara. And in Kyrgyzstan also there is another Indian university will start operating in collaboration with the government of Republic of Kyrgyzstan. So in terms of education, in terms of trade, in terms of investment, possibilities are there are some progress has made, but possibilities are enormous. Now talking about the perspective, now talking about the education system, because the main topic of this webinar is education. I believe that education in general and higher education in particular have to be relevant and productive, especially in the context of India-Central Asia relationship. So the question is how to make it accessible and flexible. Can it be, because in the era of online education, in the era of flexible education system, can it be made available to the people in mass across the globe and also Central Asia and India partnership? Can technology solve the supply-demand mismatch in the education domain? So there is I believe the demand is more than what the supply system we have into the education system. Can you replace the typical lecture with active learning? For example, in our university, apart from that classroom learning, we are telling our students to learn in terms of the practice, either through internship or active mentoring, wherein the students are working with different projects with the support and with the mentoring of the faculty member, and those projects have clear possibility of setting up an enterprise and getting commercialized. So these are some of the questions, and I believe the education sector and the people in the education domain can contribute in terms of value addition of the education system involving India and Central Asia. If I talk about the strategy, there could be different strategy. Strategy number one, strategy A is research and knowledge generation. Because if in the global context, university or institute of higher education wants to remain competitive and relevant, they need to invest much on research and knowledge generation. And obviously, after research and knowledge generation, then the next role is knowledge dissemination. Continuous upgradation of syllabus and curricula, it is the need of the hour. We cannot continue to teach or use the same curricula, same syllabus, same pedagogy which we have been using for the last 10 years or last 20 years. We need to evolve, we need to innovate and continuously upgrade our system. Mode of education delivery in the era of pandemic, in the last year, we have seen a lot of influx of online education, blended learning module, wherein online education is supplementing the offline education system. Experiential learning, students are going into the industrial learning by themselves with the support of the industry and the mentoring by the faculty member. We have the learning management system, LMS, which is getting increasingly popular. I believe that the role of the faculty or the teacher, especially in the higher education system, should be more of a facilitator than as a typical classroom teacher. So facilitation is getting increasingly important in the context of the higher education. And obviously, the student wants the flexibility in terms of the time of learning as per their requirement, as per their pace, as per their understanding level, IQ level. There should be flexibility built into the system. I believe that collaboration in the front of research and knowledge delivery is important, and I believe there is a significant scope where India and Central Asia can collaborate in terms of research and knowledge delivery. Now, the strategy number two, can the Institute of Higher Education solve the real world problems? So obviously, they are solving some of the problems of the world in terms of providing right education, imparting knowledge to the students, but can them also address the problems of economy, society, community, and environment? The problems which is kind of every individuals are encountering, whether it is a problem of economy, society, community, and environment. And in that context, what I believe is important is entrepreneurship education. And last month, I was invited in a World Rector Forum, which was organized by Ministry of Higher Education in Kyrgyzstan, wherein people from rectors from across the globe kind of discussed on various facets of evolve the education system, higher education system, everybody talked about the significance of entrepreneurship education. Because if a country has to prosper, if the economy has to grow, we need to create job providers than job seekers. So entrepreneurship education is important in this context. We need to provide proper curricula. We need to provide proper training and mandate for entrepreneurship promotion. And if we promote entrepreneurship, then it will create wealth, it will create employment, it will create manufacturing, it will promote export. Many of the curriculums of some of the universities is geared towards only education in terms of entrepreneurship education, achievement, motivation, training, business opportunity identification, market survey, business plan preparation. These are important. But what I see at the end of the tunnel is creation of entrepreneurs. So faculty members and the working as a mentor not only teach them on how to promote entrepreneurship, but at the end of the day should see some of the students should be getting the entrepreneur and contributing to the growth of the economy and job creation, employment creation, export promotion. It is not only in the current context, it is not only important that we promote entrepreneur, it is also important that we promote socially responsible entrepreneur called social entrepreneurship. So the entrepreneurship who can solve some of the problems of the community, society, entrepreneurs who promote energy efficient manufacturing practices, green manufacturing practices, or some of the problems which the society and community, whether it is related to pollution, whether it is related to global warming. So those problems can be solved through enterprise option. And in that context, social entrepreneurship is getting increasingly prominent. Also, the country, the most of the entrepreneurs, they tend to operate in urban areas or semi-urban areas. But what happens to the rural areas? Even in the rural hinterland, even in the grassroots, we need to promote entrepreneurship, and there are very, very successful models which we can learn from, we can emulate and replicate in many part of the world, including Central Asia. For example, one of the important rural entrepreneurship and group entrepreneurship model which has been promoted by Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India is SVEP, Startup Village Entrepreneurship Promotion. Millions of successful entrepreneurs is being promoted across the territory of India through Startup Village Entrepreneurship Program, and I had an opportunity to get involved in this project in the capacity in my previous organization when I was working there. So the Ministry of Rural Development model of promoting grassroots entrepreneurship, group entrepreneurship can easily be replicated in Central Asia, and the kind of ecosystem of India in the grassroots, the kind of ecosystem Central Asia has in the rural areas, there is a lot of similarities. I believe these models can be perfect model for replication in Central Asia for promoting group entrepreneurship and rural entrepreneurship, and addressing requirement of the people at the bottom of the pyramid, create a job, promote livelihood in the rural areas. And that areas also, I believe, Institute of Higher Education can contribute in a significant manner. Even in the context of entrepreneurship development, we know that the entrepreneur who starting an enterprise, they encounter different kind of problems. Sustaining an enterprise is equally important, and then growing an enterprise is also equally important. So different kind of models to cater to the requirement of people who are just starting the enterprise, people who are trying to run the enterprise successfully, and people who want to grow their enterprises. So these models, there are successful models available, which has been globally accepted, and I have practiced all these models, and these models certainly can be replicated in Central Asia. Now coming to the domain of the skill development is increasingly getting important, and the model of technical vocational education and training. And again, there are very, very successful models available in India, in many Central Asian countries, and Iran also has done significant work in terms of skill development involving the TVET model in Iran, in Tehran, and other part of the country. Now coming to the third strategy, people might argue that whether universities can address the requirement of the industry. I believe it is yes. universities and institute of higher learning can solve problems of the industry and contribute in growth of the economy through academic industry interface. Many times universities are operating in a standalone manner, industry is operating on a standalone manner. There is hardly any linkages between industry and academia, but there are many globally recognized practices, best practices across the globe, even in Central Asia and India. And these models can be replicated, wherein the problems of the industry can be taken up by the academia. They do research and innovation and solve the problems, and this technology can be transferred to the industry, and it can lead to industrial consultancy. In my university also, we set up a center of excellence, and this center of excellence is designed to promote consultancy for solving problems of the small and medium enterprises and industry in general. So I believe there is a lot of scope for scalability of the activities of the center of excellence, which we have created with the support of the government of Republic of Uzbekistan and the Andijan Governor Office. And there are many models of wherein university or institute of higher learning can contribute in the growth of the industry and contribute indirectly to the growth of the economy. Through research and development, cluster development is a global phenomenon. Inst.of is one of the important organizations which is kind of promoting cluster development in a very significant manner. The cluster development happening in Central Asia and India also. There are a large number of success cases in India. Value chain upgradation, learning from the book of the Michael E. Porter, Harvard University professor, The Competitive Advantage of Nations. So value chain upgradation is also a very important model of developing industry, and wherein I believe that universities can play a very, very important role through consultancy in terms of value chain upgradation. BDS market development, that is again a very, very successful model in Latin America, in Africa, in Southeast Asia. So why not that model can be replicated for industrial development, facilitating growth of manufacturing, facilitating growth of export, and facilitating local economic development. Now, one might argue that all this economic development, social development, community development, and environmental development is the role of the government. Other can say that it is the private sector has to play an important role. And some people might say, what is the role of the higher education institution? I believe that all these problems can be solved through PPP model, private-public partnership model, wherein government, institute of higher learning, including the university and private sector, can collaborate to promote quality education, to promote entrepreneurship, and to solve the problems of the industry and especially small and medium enterprises across the continent. So we need to create an enterprising society and nation. So any country, whether it is India, whether it is Kyrgyzstan and other partner countries in the Central Asia, we need to create an enterprising society and enterprising nation. And in order to do that, educational institution, government and private sector needs to play a collaborative role and play a very, very important role in facilitating and creating a right environment for growth of education and growth of the ecosystem in the country. And in fact, there are many examples. Whatever I said till now, in go to any continent, there are a large number of examples, thousands of examples. And if those are happening in other countries, why not Central Asia and India? For example, the cluster tuning project. In this project, what we try to do is linking Indian leather industry with the European leather industry. So wherein the universities, institution, for example, Central Leather Research Institute in India, they did a lot of R&D, developed technology. Those technologies were transferred to the industry. It led to improvement in productivity and quality. Then we link this Indian cluster with the Italian cluster, other European clusters in Japan. As a result, trade and investment promoted between India and all those countries in Europe. There was information dissemination, technology transfer, raw material linkage, market linkage. So in fact, this project contributed in growth of leather industry in a very, very collaborative manner between India and European countries. And in fact, those projects have been documented, and even the World Bank came to document this experience. It was supported by the World Bank, DFID, and other organizations. World Bank from Washington, DC, and they kind of appreciated this kind of initiative. So I believe there are these models. There are all this, what I've said till now, all these are models are available, which has been tested, tried model, and which can promote entrepreneurship, we can promote investment, which can promote trade, which can promote manufacturing, which can create employment. And in all this context, education, especially Institute of Higher Education, can play a very, very significant role, can contribute to the growth of the growth and development. So what is required? I believe what is required is a clear-cut roadmap with futuristic vision which has a scope, which has a scalability, and which has a efficiency. So if we can develop a right strategy and right vision for development involving the education sector, involving India and Central Asia, I think possibility is enormous. We need a conducive ecosystem, and the kind of linkages, the kind of historical relationship we have, geopolitical good relation we have between India and Central Asia. I believe there is a good ecosystem, and ecosystem is getting increasingly conducive. So there is no reason to believe that this kind of linkages and fostering linkages will not succeed. And there is every reason to believe that these linkages will succeed. And it is also needed to have a PPP model, private-public partnership model for efficient delivery, strengthening collaboration between India and Central Asia. And in that context, the higher education institution need to generate more knowledge, do R&D, develop their curricula, change their curricula, evolve things which are more practical, which is demand-oriented, and disseminate. After generating the knowledge, they should be able to disseminate the knowledge. They can create the successful models, and they can replicate best practices across geography in India and Central Asia. And I think all of us, with the kind of partnership of International Chamber of Commerce and Chamber for Service Industry, we can leverage the potential of each individuals, each organizations, each universities, and they create a right conducive ecosystem for growth of the education sector in general, entrepreneurship in particular, and contribute in nation building exercise involving India and Central Asia. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Sanjay. It was very elaborate and detailed and to the point, hitting right nail on the head. Something fantastic input you have given, right? Starting from the Silk Road, coming to collaboration between India, Central Asia on research, knowledge delivery, solving the real world problems and climate change, environment, everything you touched upon, something fantastic. And of course, there's a significance of the entrepreneurship education and Ministry of Rural Development model, which you made a mention. Certainly, we will look into that into detail, social entrepreneurship, research and development. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. It's very, very appreciable. And if you could kindly close your presentation, then we all can come live straight on the main central stage. And yes, that's wonderful. Thank you very much, Dr. Sanjeev. It was fantastic. Yes, see, Dr. Seema Rawat is clapping for you all the way from the Amity University. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And now, where is my friend Sukumaran ji? Are you okay? K. Sukumaran ji, are you there? Your mic, if it got unmuted. Okay, let me just move on to the ladies. Both can toss. Who would like to speak early? Choice is yours. I would not come on the way. It's better to stay away and give them the equal opportunity. Let them decide who should go on first, and then we can just take on. And ladies and gentlemen, we move on with two ladies, Dr. Seema Rawat and Dr. Jyoti Meshram. They both can decide who would like to come in first. Sukumaranji, I was calling you. I was requesting you. Are you in a position to unmute your mic?
Yes, yes.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. I could hear your voice. Yeah, both the ladies have given an opportunity to speak now.
Can you hear me?
Dr. Seema Rawat says, go ahead, all yours. I would get it endorsed from Dr. Jyoti also. Yes, she has given thumbs up. Please go ahead, Sukumaran ji. I think he has got some internet difficulty, some problem. Chitra ma'am, could I make a request to you if you can speak to your technical team and reach him, whether in Tashkent or in Singapore, wherever it's possible, try and get K. Sukumaran ji. And meanwhile, let's go to the ladies. Sukumaran ji. इतना अपॉर्चुनिटी तो कौन बनेगा, करोड़पति में भी नहीं मिलता है. देखिए, are you in a position to come in now?
I'm sorry to interrupt, sir, but I think the internet connection is unstable because I'm also experiencing the same issue.
So sorry. So before ma'am, your internet goes, let's have you in. Yeah, please go ahead.
That I will have to do with Seema ma'am's permission.
Okay, please go ahead. Who is going to take on first?
Yes, Seema ma'am. Would you like
Yes,
to?
sure, ma'am. Yes, sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, women empowerment. Both the ladies have decided, and Dr. Seema had been very kind. She says, Dr. Jyoti, go ahead.
Okay. I thought she would start. Well, it's like, I'm a tiny droplet in this ocean of knowledge. Such eminent personalities already have spoken before me, and they spoke about entrepreneurship. And I'm a person who is teaching an entrepreneurship university. We are a partner university of London South Bank University, which is specialized in entrepreneurship. We do try a lot to create the entrepreneurs like suggested by all these eminent personalities before me. And I again get the warning that my internet connection is unstable. So please, I hope you can hear me still. Am I audible? Okay, great.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. We do experience a lot of challenges, like, the kind of attitude the students have, and mainly it's because of the educational background they have had and the language compatibility. However, we see that the cohorts that we have nowadays are like even better than the earlier years, and they have got good grasping powers. We see that the students are very enthusiastic, they are energetic, and they really want to do something in their life. They want to start their own businesses, and like stated by Sachdev sir, that they want to have their own businesses rather than going for a job. They want to start their own businesses and make big out of them. The challenge that I see here is that the students, they cannot really think out of the box. Maybe it's the kind of exposure they have got so far, and they are not really very much, they weren't very open to the outside world since very late. And maybe that's one of the reasons that they don't know exactly how things are going on outside the world. We hardly see the concepts of finishing schools here. There are some eminent universities like MDIS has got some courses like fashion designing, wherein students are getting some professional experience, and they are doing professional certifications, which will help them doing good in their life, or getting good opportunities in the field of business or in the field of jobs. When it comes to entrepreneurship at our university, we recently, because our university is pretty new actually, we started just 2 years ago, and this is our 3rd year precisely. We started the entrepreneurship hub, and we see that students who actually want to become entrepreneurs, they come to our university, and there are students who have that kind of acumen, that kind of background, or if not background, they have that enthusiasm to make something out of their life. And by the time we still have the students who are just in the 3rd year of their studies. And we have the students who, with the help of Entrepreneurship Hub and the guidance from the faculty members, have started their own businesses, and they are doing good as for their level, we should say. They are like, 18, 19, 20 years old kids. So they are doing good. So that is something that I do appreciate, the kind of attitude they have towards life, and that they really want to make something out of it, and they are making an effort towards it. The thing that we have to do as teachers is to help them, to guide them. And what we see that our sponsors or our founders, who mainly are the entrepreneurs and the business tycoons from Uzbekistan, they're also putting in a lot of effort. We organize the seminars for the students. We have business breakfasts so that they can interact with the people from industry and get the knowledge about how to do the things, what could be done in a better way. The challenge that, like I said earlier, is making them think outside the box. Like Palsa said, that they need to focus on to the social entrepreneurship. So for now, what I see in the students here is that they really are not focused on to social entrepreneurship. For them right now, the focus is like start something and earn profit out of that, and then slowly make it big. That is the kind of thing that we see here in the students. Social entrepreneurship definitely needs to be promoted, and the rural entrepreneurship, women entrepreneurs are in Syria. We do not have a lot of women entrepreneurs here. There are some non-governmental organizations which are working towards promoting women entrepreneurs and helping them start the business at small level. Things are happening, but yes, like stated earlier by the other speakers, the pace is not really fast. So we cannot expect like drastic changes in this next few years, but then changes are there. Only thing is that if they get more support, if they get more motivation by not just the teachers, but by the industry people, and the major problem that they face is related to the finances. They really fight to get the seed finances or startup capital for their businesses. So if there are more ways which government can create for them to generate some startup capital or seed funding for their businesses, I think a lot of people from the young generation can do a lot and build a better tomorrow for the country like Republic of Uzbekistan. So there are plenty of prospects. People need to learn about the new things those are happening around the world. And one thing that I see here in Uzbekistan, when I speak to my students, because I teach entrepreneurship, I teach subjects related to marketing. So they tell me the quality of products that we have really is not that good. We don't always have good options in every single thing. The things which are good are very expensive. And the main reason for things being expensive is that the country has to import a lot of things from outside world. And that's the reason, because of the customs duties and the taxes, the things are really expensive as compared to other countries that we see, especially like India. If I compare being an Indian, the things that we buy there and things that we buy here, there is a lot of difference in the costing. So we try to promote them, we try to push them towards produce the things in-house, produce the things in the country itself, so that the things will be cheaper, there will be more competition, the customers are benefited, the society is benefited. But then yes, it is very challenging for us to inculcate those values, those kind of the students. But then we are trying, and of teachers from there are issues from the government side. I believe this thing will change. So I'm hopeful about it. Well, I guess that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Short, crisp, and to the point. Entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, rural entrepreneurship, NGO, women entrepreneurship. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. And you did the wise thing. You switched off the camera so that the bandwidth can be moved to your audio. And we could hear you at least at the fag end also very well. Thank you. That is something fantastic. What do you call the moment we live in, that thought should prevail. What is to be done? What action? And that is like a swift armed forces. Otherwise, the other party will take you over. It happens that way. Great. That's good. K. Sukumaran ji, I got the message from Chitra ma'am that you are ready without video.
Yes, yes.
So
Okay.
I'll take the permission of Dr. Seema ma'am first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, sir, sure.
Yeah. K. Sukumaran ji, permission granted. Please go ahead.
Yes. So
Please
now,
go ahead.
yeah, okay, I'm going ahead. So I would like to focus mainly on the educational reforms, especially maybe across the globe for the last around 1 decade or more. I think we have seen maybe sweeping changes on the education front. So in that aspect, I think this would be more particular to the Central Asia, even though this is common across the globe like that only. And the main determinants or the triggers for this change are maybe the globalization. So we can see across the globe, the free flow of goods, services, and the capital has been there. And the deregulation, the most of the countries are moving into the private enterprise. Maybe even the best classic example is India moving away from this mixed economic system and moving to the lot of liberalization efforts. Then we can see technology adoption. So that is also one of the key determinants. Then financial innovation, maybe very recently we can see through the blockchain technology and all. I think a lot of financial innovation has come into the various scenes of across the many countries and even Central Asia in particular, and digitalization. So digitalization is part and parcel of all activities, not only in the financial sector, in the educational sector, in services sector across. And last but not the least is the mobility. When across the globe, people are moving from different country to different countries, especially we can say India has attracted a lot of students worldwide coming to India. Previously, the situation was reversed, but now we can see a lot of changes in that one. So that is one part. And COVID-19 and educational system across the globe, this COVID-19 has disrupted the educational system. So the learning loss has affected across all age groups, elementary, primary, secondary, higher education, collegiate, and all. And the more, I think the impact is felt more on engineering sciences, medical sciences, etc. So these are the COVID-19 disruption. But however, even before COVID-19 also, a lot of changes maybe with the adoption of the technology on the educational front, it has appeared like that. And very recently, we can see the Industry 4.0, that is a transition from the steam engine revolution to the modern IT world revolution, that is the cyberspace. So accordingly, maybe a side effect of the Industry 4.0 revolution, we can see education 4.0 also, we can see a lot of changes like that. Maybe it involves use of tablets and smartphones, supportive tools in the classroom, and focuses on smart and innovative technology like that. So we can see this education 4.0 that includes online assessment, even teaching, learning, and assessment are completely, even before the advent of, before the experience of the COVID-19 also, these online educational reforms, it has appeared in most of the countries, including the Central Asia, and the robotics, artificial intelligence, big data, the virtual reality and environments. So these are the tools set to replace the clumsy old procedures of absolute conventional education through creativity and student centricity. So what I can say, that means education 4.0 is about innovation-based education and the 21st century learning skills. Maybe towards the end of this, my presentation, I would like to put forward about the key trends in management education that we have seen, maybe irrespective of the regions, maybe Central Asia or the South Asia, even across the globe, we can see around 10 developments. One is the digitalization. We can see in the new economic policy of the government of India means digitalization is given a lot of focus. And the second one is the blended learning. Maybe thanks to the COVID-19 environment, maybe the classroom and online teaching. Now, I think most of the countries, most of the educational reformists, they have accepted this blended learning. And third is the work from anywhere. Previously it was a work from home. Now, I think most of the IT giants, etc., they have accepted this in principle. That means they can work anywhere. And accordingly, the systems and procedures are change like that only. And the fourth trend in management education is the experiential learning. In most of the management schools in the world, I think they focus on the concepts, and these concepts are made into application. So concepts and applications that leads to the experiential learning. So that is a good advancement as far as the educational reforms, global reforms are concerned. And the fifth point is vocational skills. Maybe apart from the theoretical skills, many of the management education, so they are focusing on the vocational skills, so maybe self-learning of the key trades in the industry. And the eighth one is the core values. That is the most important one, maybe across the, not only in the management education, but in the humanities, in the science, in the engineering, etc. The students should be imparted the key core values, that is the respect, honesty, excellence, commitment, punctuality, perfection. So these are the key core values that the today's students, they should get imparted in the learning process. And the seventh point I would like to point is critical thinking. That is, we need to get the analytical skills, interpretation skills, how to explain this. So these are the new age skills that the students need to master. And the eighth one is the problem solving, how to identify a problem, how to resolve a problem, maybe analyzing the alternatives. And the ninth one is upskilling and reskilling. The skilling is the most important part of education. And not only maybe skilling, we need not stop that much. We need to enhance, maybe we need to go into new skilling thanks to the technological revolution. And also reskilling also is mostly required. And last but not the least, it is the soft skill that can give a better edge to the student community, maybe a good grip on the communication and interpersonal skills. So I hope that means these 10 skills, new trends in management education, that can go a long way in making the education as a reform measure. So thank you so much for giving. I thought that I could not attempt because of the technological problem in the internet connectivity, but good, I could do it. Thank you so much, Sharma.
You could make it. You could make it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sukumaran ji. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to share with all of you these 1600 webinars which are available on ICSI India's web portal. Listening to the global speakers across the different continents, different experts, we have listed out 135 soft skills of the entire world, and they are available on the webinar. If you go to the ICSI India web portal, you can see it on the YouTube channel. We have also listed 50 hard skills. And of course, like Sukumaran ji made a mention over here, education is a continuous process which has to go on. It needs reforms, upgradation, packaging, repackaging, rethinking, refurbishing. And there is a Professor M.M. Pant. Listen to him sometime. He comes, sometime on our channel. He's the founder, pro-vice chancellor, who brought for the first time digital education in India way back in 1987-88, where the MOOC and the Moodle and other things, he says there is the concept now called self-paced learning. Self-paced learning. And we all are co-learners. We learn from each other. And that's the way the world is moving. We would be more than happy to partner with all our friends, brothers and sisters and distinguished guests, those who have come today in Central Asia, how India and Central Asia can be brought further closer in education ecosystem with all the verticals of skills and competencies and services sector together. With these words, let me get in Dr. Seema Rawat, ma'am, from Amity University, and thereafter we will go to the environment part to Dr. Koustubh Sharma ji. And then finally, on the top of the ship, we will have Dr. Shilpi Mohan ma'am, medical tourism, and all the teleservices which has to be done. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Seema Rawat, Amity University, Uzbekistan in Tashkent. Hearty welcome, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Kulshan sir. Thank you so much, Sanjeev sir, to giving me this opportunity, and thank you International Chamber for Service Industry. Sir, can I share my screen?
By all means, all yours.
Sir, is it visible?
Absolutely, ma'am. Please go ahead.
So, ladies and gentlemen, today I want to discuss about role of technology in innovation and education. Nowadays, teachers, students, parents, and many others with an interest in technology integration frequently are overwhelmed by providing and assessing the quality technological instructions. So, impact of technology on education, I want to just say the era of 21st century is often regarded as an era of technology. So technology plays a very important role in our life. You see, every domain of life, the intervention of technology is there. So it is seen as a basics of growth of an economy, which ultimately depends on what comes from education. An economy which is poor in technology can never grow in today's scenario. So this is because technology makes our work much easier and much time consuming. The impact of technology can be felt in every possible field. One such field is in education. So let me discuss about few things about education and innovation. Everyone knows about what is innovation. So as per my opinion, innovation is typically understood as the introduction of something new, something useful. For example, introducing new methods, new techniques, new practices, new products, new services. So why do we need innovation? Why do we need innovation? Some reasons to innovate to improve skills, practices, diversity, to improve quality, to respond to changing needs of users, to respond to new opportunities. So now, how technology is changing teaching? Electronic gadgets, in the COVID time, impact of technology in education develops a positive attitude towards learning, increases skills of students, increases work skills of for workforces, also making collaboration strong. Globally, researchers are coming together now. Industry 4.0 has an entry into classrooms and curriculum. So electronic gadgets constitute new age of students and applicants. And in time of pandemic, education technology has shown the world that technology has the power to engage learners by providing them with all the forms of educational content at the comfort of their homes. So, and the recent technology advancement have furthermore strengthened our faith in the education sector, education technology sector as a result. So there is a sudden boom of educational products, education service providers. The most significant change that has happened is in the terms of Industry 4.0 and the curriculum updates that are totally global. So, role of technology in education, as technology is helping teachers to expand beyond linear text-based learning and to engage students who learn best in other ways. Institutions are able to see strong change in their demands and plannings. And education policies and investment is influenced by STAMP now. As technology is reshaping education around the world, the dynamics of imparting education and the relationship between teachers and students that have been built up in very profound way since decades has started to change. So institutions have got a new light now. A new beginnings is there. There is a great positive future ahead for them because innovation is giving them good returns in their research as well. So if we are talking about the STAMP, so everyone is very much aware about STAMP: science, discover, describe, a better understanding of life. What is technology? Invent and innovate, improving the natural world. Engineering, which means control, modify, design material, What could be? Mathematics, symbolic language for representing reality, making sense of the world with numbers. So they are the 4 pillars of STEM now. So future of education. Now I'm talking about distance education trends, education and uses of social media, post-secondary curriculum. Sanjay sir also discussed about the same, globalization, positive, negatives, and classrooms in future. So future education, social media plays an important role in the future education. Along with the advanced technology, education restrictions by time and location were no longer exist now. So distance learning and asynchronous learning were become more popular nowadays. Future of education, students and parents need to understand that technology is only creating the different means of imparting the education at the comfort of their homes. But the question is, are we ready to adapt it? Do parents and students understand the merits or demerits of the use of technology in education? When we discuss the potential benefits of technology in education against its risk and consequences, the topic becomes debatable as we understand the importance of education and the role of technology in education. So on one side, technology permits you to experiment in pedagogy and classrooms, democracy, and engage student in creative ways. So on the other side, some might raise a question: can technology be destructive? And its usage can affect mental and physical health, as confirmed in various research scholars. So my opinion, now, how has technology changed the face of teaching in post-COVID era? You agree or not, though I know you agree to it, the COVID changed us in terms of our methods and the tools we use in teaching. It has made us proactive now. The knowledge that only teachers possessed in the possessed past and now available to everyone online, challenging the old model of teacher-student mode of education. As a result, teachers are now leveraging technology to keeping up with the latest trends and create a dynamic role of themselves, which is not just limited to feeding students with information knowledge, but also making them learn what is asked by employers. There are online counseling sessions, there are problem solving things and communications and many more other aspects which are presenting day aspirants are looking for. So now, in Uzbekistan set some goals. Uzbekistan and its call to action of technology in education, national target was there in my slide: by 2030, substantially increase the number of youth and adults who have relevant skills, including technical and vocational skills and employment and decent jobs and entrepreneurship. So skills and entrepreneurship will be real when technology integration will be realistic. As we are here to deliberate on what are the new norms in the higher education, new norms is a readiness towards technology and make it meaningful, collaborative, and creative. So everything without STEM, nothing possible. Science, technology, engineering, everywhere required. So the future belongs to STEM now. Thank you, sir, to giving this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks a lot for sharing your vision. Industry 4.0, STEM, future of education, social media, and something very interesting you made a mention. The COVID has made all of us proactive, and the new norms which will be set up in the education ecosystem now, and the future belongs to STEM. Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much. And let me just come to global environment now, because Dr. Koustubh Sharma ji had been contributing. He gave us a lot of valuable inputs earlier as well. I still recall, and I wish to share with him. Please enlighten us. The most important thing, we want tourism also, we want tourist also, we want movement also, we want education also, we want skill also, we want foreign exchange also, we want to save our plants also, we want greenery also, we want to clean our mountains and our rivers also. Koustubh, your task is very, very difficult. Please help us how not to throw garbage anywhere, how to develop humanity with nature, because we generally say teachers are gardeners. Why can't we have education with nature, as a part of nature, instead of building these classrooms? वो गुरुकुल में वापस पहुंचे, पेड़ के नीचे बैठ के, पीपल के, और वहीं पर कैसे किस तरह से स्टार्ट करें. Think about it, Dr. Koustubh. Sharma ji, let's have you and your wonderful, valuable views.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Major Sharma. What I'm going to do is, let me share my screen and I'll just take you through a deck of a few slides. Yeah, to be honest, it's an honor for me to be here. Thank you, Dr. Shilpi, for coaxing me to make to be able to make myself available and useful in this event. Now, as a representative of a sector that's often not even considered to be a real vocation, usually dismissed as a hobby, I thought that this could be a good opportunity for me to step back a bit and focus on what truly is conservation, and why is it not just about saving a beautiful animal, or as you rightly enlisted a spectrum of what all it's about. I'll just take it further. It's about our well-being, it's about our economies, and it's about our future. So, since I work on snow leopard conservation, I'll focus my arguments around this stunning little species. But you will notice that these issues are species agnostic, topic agnostic, and uniformly relevant to humankind as well. So, people often ask, why should we conserve snow leopards? Yes, it is a very beautiful species, a stunningly gorgeous species, but is that good enough for us to invest time, money, and other resources just to conserve a species only because it's beautiful like this one? Now, I'll start with the story of this little girl. Her name is Kana, and her family lives in the mountains of central Tian Shan in the Kyrgyz Republic. Her father is a herder who makes an equivalent of just about 2.5 lakh Indian rupees worth. You can convert it into other currencies that you are comfortable with. 2.5 lakhs would be 250,000 Indian rupees. Now, so far so good. But if I tell you that her family receives services whose economic value is nearly 18 lakh Indian rupees every year for free, that will make you think twice that I've either got my numbers wrong or I'm probably just exaggerating. In other words, this girl's family receives 7 times to 10 times their annual family income without any payments every year. Where do they get it from? Well, it is these pristine mountains from where people living in so-called remote places receive not 1 or 2, but up to 30 provisional services that can be accounted for based on regular local market rates. These may include water, these may include fodder, these may include medicinal plants, and so on. Not just Kaneki and her family, these mountains provide water, just water of all the other services, just water to billions of people off the planet living downstream. And in fact, if you look at it carefully, most rivers originating from these rugged high mountains of Central and South Asia have fed and nurtured entire civilizations for millennia. In fact, are still feeding billions of people from a continent that has about 60% of the world's population. Now, the damages the extreme climatic events are causing across the world are evident to all of us, be it the bushfires of Australia, the frozen lakes of the American Midwest, the catastrophic cyclones we are seeing in the Indian subcontinent. Extreme events are not just terrible for the survival of life on Earth, they're terrible and they're devastating for our economies as well. As you can imagine, the glaciers and permafrost regions in the mountains of Central and South Asia are also some of the finest carbon sinks that help keep our climates in control. And it is these mountains that are most vulnerable to climate catastrophe that's going on around us. So much so that these mountains are heating up at twice the rate of the planet's, of the global average of the planet. Now, if you want to be healthy, you need your ecosystem to be healthy. And there is this one species, since I'm talking about it, I'm going to focus on that, that serves as the thermometer of the health of these mountains, the mountains of Central and South Asia. And it's no surprise that cultures and religions across the region revere this predator, for it is the custodian of not just mountains, but entire ecosystems. This is also why conservation of this one species, when done the right way by engaging local communities, addresses not just 1 or 2, but 10 to 13 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals defined by United Nations. I'm talking about the snow leopard, which lives in the high mountains, but interestingly, they live below the permanent frost layer and above the tree line. In fact, they survive in a rather narrow altitudinal belt. Now, the moment you think about climate change, you will notice how the species will have to readjust from one narrow belt, shrinking from both ends and then having to move further up. Talking about snow leopards, they have massive home ranges. Many of them travel between international borders without caring about passports or visas. And with ranges so big, they interface with humans. And when a large predator interfaces with humans or livestock, they're bound to cause negative interactions. Just like any other wildlife on this planet, snow leopards are also threatened. And the one thing common in all the threats that they're facing, these are all man-made. They're constantly under threat from retaliatory killing when they're persecuted by herders who are angry for losing their livestock. They're being poached to feed the illegal wildlife trade market. Greedy trophy hunters across its range are decimating their prey, the food, the wild goat and sheep. And unfortunately, while we are managing to mitigate some of those threats, other threats constantly keep emerging. Destruction of habitat for poorly planned infrastructure, mining, and even canned hunting, for that matter, for trophies are some of the threats that were not even considered to be an issue 15 years ago, but today are challenging the survival of these species. It is important to be on the lookout because even newer threats are emerging as we speak. And I'll highlight these because these are very close to home. We all love dogs. I've always grown up with dogs. I've always had dogs at home. But this one domesticated species can cause havoc when it goes feral, when it goes out without any owners. Today, dogs are not just competing with snow leopards for food, but they have become a bigger threat to domestic livestock and livelihoods of local people across several mountain ecosystems. Major Sharma mentioned about tourism. Tourism can be an incredible tool for conservation by connecting livelihoods directly with the well-being of wildlife and natural ecosystems. But if implemented poorly, it can also destroy the fragile mountain ecosystems. It's like a double-edged sword, which needs to be wielded very carefully, and there are means to be able to deal with those carefully. But again, an approach that can be a threat can be turned on its head to be made into a boon as well. Anyway, and lastly, our lifestyles, which are escalating climate change. And people often ask, so where do you put climate change as a threat to biodiversity, especially the biodiversity of the mountains? I tell them that climate change is not a threat to snow leopards. It's actually the mother of all threats, which will compound each and every other threat that I just spoke about by many factors that will not even be able to gauge at this point in time. And it is anybody's guess that with increasing temperatures, surfaces that have been frozen for years will melt and bring along pathogens, including viruses and bacteria, that our bodies are likely not going to have any immunity against. And that's where I come to what we've just faced over the last 3 years. If anything, COVID has shown how our disregard of nature, leading to an avoidable interaction with wildlife through illegal wildlife trade, poaching, can lead to not just loss of life, but widespread economic crisis, locally, nationally, regionally, as well as globally. The economic cost of COVID, if I'm not exaggerating, is estimated to be in excess of $30 trillion. Now that beats any other economic incentives that we can ever think of. So it's like as if there was, that was not enough. There's a recent study that you can have a look at. It is indicating that wildlife, livestock, and people living in the mountains of Central Asia are much more vulnerable to diseases and to future pandemics than other tropical regions for various reasons, including their lack of exposure in the recent past, including increasing connectivity with some of these areas, including increasing illegal wildlife trade, and of course, above all, climate change. Now, we can no longer, the point I'm trying to highlight here is that we cannot afford to allow degradation of our natural ecosystems in the name of economic development. It is as if we are trying to make revenue in one currency, here money, at the cost of another currency, which is our own well-being, health, and our future. I just mentioned the economic cost of COVID, the economic cost of climate change, and zoonosis to economy are no unknowns today. And there's a plethora of material out there which describes the close connection we have, the close connection our economies and our well-being has with with biodiversity around us. So on that note, I'd like to end with re-emphasizing that ecosystem conservation is not a choice, but a necessity for our survival and for our well-being and our economies. But before let me pause it. Yeah, before I stop, since this session did aim on technology, I just wanted to leave you with a very interesting case study where artificial intelligence and snow leopard conservation came together. We worked with Microsoft to develop, Microsoft worked with us. They developed an algorithm that used AI to develop a tool. Oops, sorry, keeps going on its own. To develop a tool that that saved us hundreds of work hours. And not just that, they featured snow leopards on an advertisement campaign that, of course, helped share information about this tool, but more importantly, generated more than 1 billion impressions through 2019, thus improving visibility of snow leopards, which are otherwise known as the ghost of the mountains. I'm just going to play this 20-second little video. I hope you can hear the audio on this one. I'll just see share sound. Yeah, okay, there we go. There.
Snow leopards are almost impossible to find, but we need to know where they are because they are threatened. Our camera traps allow us to have an eye in the mountains, taking thousands of pictures. Microsoft AI scans through all these images and separates snow leopards from everything else. In 10 minutes instead of 10 days, it gives us time to do better research and save this threatened species.
Well, oops, yeah. With that, I'll finally end here. And over to you, Major Sharma. Thank you once again for inviting me to speak on this exciting event. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Koustubh. You always make me spellbound, you know. You are so deeply associated with nature, conservation, and all the time, such a wonderful cause you have given over here. Development at what cost? That is something very important. What kind of a development we are talking about? And the AI and the snow leopard conservation, the Microsoft, this part, amazing. That's something is fantastic what you have given. Ladies and gentlemen, can we think of education should be, you know, it should be an integral part of where we are the part of nature. We are the species. In fact, the house which I am occupying, the area where I'm living, it doesn't belong to me. It belongs to altogether a different species. And I have just come over here and constructed 4 walls, and I have started living over here. And something amazing I would like to share with the entire universe. During this pandemic, I learned what vegetables grow above the ground and what grow inside the ground. I had forgotten that. The organic kheti, which I have done on my rooftop during this pandemic, I learned, and that vegetable is so tasty because I have grown with my own hands. And something amazing this pandemic has taught all of us. Let's come near nature. And Dr. Koustubh, you might have met or you might have enjoyed, there is an 85-year young Indian. His name is Satish Kumar in London. He belongs to Rajasthan, and he has got amazing program with United Nations. Why can't we have education as an integral part with nature? Something fantastic which he gives from London. I would request all the global audience, before I come to Dr. Shilpi Mohan ma'am, kindly make it a point that do watch Satish Kumarji, because at my age, I have to give back to society. I have not to take anything now. I have touched 71, but my passion, my energy, my devotion, my dedication, before I close my eyes, I want the entire universe, all of us together. And sometimes I wonder, so many people are teaching one subject. Let's take any subject of your choice. Somebody talked about STEM education, okay? So many professors are teaching physics across the globe. Same topic, same chapter, same subject. Can we work out a synergy? Why can't we have all the teachers of one particular subject together? Let's have a potluck of the knowledge, the wisdom, and let's share with the entire universe. That's the way the humanity future is. Now, mental wellness, physical wellness, spiritual wellness, environmental wellness, and economic wellness, all are very, very, very important. If your health is in order, everything is fine. Let's go to Dr. Shilpi Mohan ma'am, and let's talk about medical tourism and wellness tourism, and what all can we do it from your place, because I know a lot of people from South Korea, they come to Central Asia, they do 1 week, 10 days free medical treatment and everything and all, and thereafter people are flocking in. So I am a little hungry child. I'm looking forward some size of the slice to come to India as far as medical tourism from Central Asia is concerned. And that is with the help of Dr. Shilpi Mohan ma'am. With these words, let me get her in and let's get her views.
Good evening, everyone. As a part of ICSI, I would like to thank all the wonderful speakers for this enlightening session. I am a part of ICSI besides being a doctor. And first of all, I'll speak about medical tourism and what we can do further in this field. And then I'll summarize whatever all the speakers have said. I have made a full notes. And in case I am able to read my own handwriting, then I would highlight on all the things which has been brought out, because doctors they write they write very bad. So, but I would like to summarize in the end what all the speakers have said. So first of all, simple fact and figures I would like to bring out. India stands 7th as the most favorite medical tourism destination. And among Asia, it is among top 3. From this position, we aim to reach as topmost destination as a part of Medivision 2047. Why should we be the leader in medical tourism? Because we have Western expertise as well as Eastern wisdom. So both the things when joined together, we can definitely showcase that we are the best in the world. On top of it, because the treatment is 25% of what is provided, means 1/4 of the cost of what is provided in the Western world, we can definitely give them a better option here in India, especially post-COVID, when we are expecting a recession hitting the world in 2023. And already we are facing the challenging situation related to economy. How can we do that? And what are the things which we should highlight upon? When I was in India, I was working in Artemis Hospital and Fortis Hospital. And there I saw that patients were coming from this part of the world and taking treatment. Now, when I see it from here, I can join both the dots together. And I understand that time it was just like patients are coming, I have to give the treatment, and that's the end of the story, because we were just beginners at that point of time. But now at this point of time, when I join both the dots together, I understand that India has become a destination for medical tourism because we are hospitable, we give them a good care, patients come around, get the best of the treatment, see this world, as well as get treatment from Ayurveda, yoga, and Panchakarma and other aspects as well. So it is not just the tertiary care which we are providing, we are also giving them best of the preventive care. It is not just treat and go. It is how you will rehabilitate once you go there. That is one important aspect which we are working upon. And this is the key thing which we can highlight upon in future as well to make ourselves as the topmost as a medical tourism destination. Secondly, in last 5 to 10 years, because we have digitalized ourselves and thinking on those lines, everything is getting digitalized, and right from payment to everything, medical care, everything is digitalized. Telemedicine is playing a definite role. The time gap is hardly 30 minutes from this part of the world to that part of the world, from India to Central Asia. And teleconsultation has become so important from different hospitals that you don't need those OPD camps to be set over here, which was done earlier. Doctors had to come over here, set up OPDs, go back. Because of telemedicine, those things are not required. So that is second thing which we can further work upon so that we can provide them the best medical care and call those patients who require actually medical treatment in India. Number 3, pharmaceutical industry. We have more than 3,000 pharmaceutical industries which are providing generic medication at a cheaper rate. So if we highlight and work upon that, then this part of the country, this part of the world definitely requires cheaper pharma care. So those things can also be provided from India. So if we work upon these 3 things with the collaboration of ICSI by government support, then definitely we can play a big role in establishing India as the topmost destination in medical tourism. With these words, I would like to summarize by all the things which have been highlighted by the eminent speakers. It was wonderful listening to all of you. One by one, I'll just highlight only the key things which I have noted. Dr. Professor Sanjeev Chaturvedi has mentioned that English language has now been taken care of. Now people are more enthusiastic about English language in Uzbekistan, and India is definitely considered as a very good destination for medical tourism as well as for education. So this was the main thing which was highlighted about him by him. Then Mr. Sachdeva, he highlighted that first of all, I would like to say that the most important thing he highlighted was that Mr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi and he both are neighbors. So once we visit that country, we can visit both of them together. So this was one thing. And he definitely highlighted that there is a gap between supply-demand mismatch. In IT field, they are more conservative. And those things we have to work upon so that they become more progressive in those lines, so that IT technology can be more popularized in those areas. So that is what was highlighted by him. Then coming to Dr. Jyoti, she had mentioned that language was definitely a barrier, and we need to have social and rural entrepreneurs, and very few women entrepreneurs are there. So we need to work upon them, because in India, women empowerment is something which we are working upon. So we can definitely reach over to those places and work upon women entrepreneurship. Then coming to Mr. K. Sukumaran, he had emphasized about the importance of digitalization. He had given 10 skill sets which are required, and he has emphasized upon experiential learning, vocational training, vocational learning, and critical thinking and soft skill learning. Along with that, Dr. Sanjay Paul, he had emphasized upon entrepreneurship promotion and PPP model, which can play a very big role in development of entrepreneurs. Coming to Dr. Seema Rawat, she has highlighted upon impact of technology on education and Industry 4.0 model, and she talked about STEM model. And Dr. Koustubh Sharma has definitely enlightened us upon our concern regarding environmental care, which should be the prime importance for all of us. Thank you all, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Such a wonderful, I think you took the notes very well and covered everything so seamlessly, you know. I mean, it's a wonderful. My deep gratitudes and thanks to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we come to the end of today's this particular beautiful interface. And on behalf of ICSI, International Chamber for Service Industry, on behalf of my colleague, I should say, just like my younger sister, Dr. Shilpi Mohan ma'am, all the way over there, our advisor, great thanks to her, gratitude to her. Imagine the world has woken up because Sachdev Ramakrishna ji has come back again like an avatar, and he has reappeared on the surface for all of us. Thank you. And it was such a nice to get the views and valuable inputs from all of you. Before we close today's session, wish to share with all of you, might be whatever you're doing in Central Asia at this point of time, in whatever capacity, we would be more than happy. We extend you a very warm welcome. You can come separately, and you can have a complete case study of your own organization, your university, your setup, your organization. Give us the valuable inputs. Our chamber is hungry. We don't need money, but we need wisdom, and we need value-based, education fragrance to be spread world over. Skills, competencies, capabilities we all have talked about. I'm pretty sure that this family will further grow. Our family will keep multiplying. Many more professors would keep joining. Every Sunday, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time, we get one of the prominent NRIs from world over. Every Sunday. You're more than welcome to join us any day. Should you wish to come back to share your vision, you're more than welcome. Should you wish to bring many more in this particular fold, मैं अकेला ही चला था जानबे मंजिल, लोग आते गए और कारवां बनता गया. That's the way we got to start. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, signing off from India, while conveying our deep gratitudes and thanks to everybody those joined us today, and in spite of technical glitches, difficulties, problems, but it's a packaging, repackaging, learning, relearning. All of us, we are learning the best possible way. With that, we have got three beautiful things before we close the session. We are focused, we have faith, and we will follow through with your wisdom and with your whatever valuable inputs you give it to us. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Namaskar, Shubhratri, and green morning and green afternoon and green evening. Stay fit, stay fine, and wonderful global family.